Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Amsyah, ID student TK23031. Today, I will present about the Bell Lab scandal involving Jan Hendrik Schön. Bell Lab is a famous research laboratory known for many important scientific discoveries. Jan Hendrik Schön was physically working there in the early 2000s. He published many research papers in nanotechnology and semiconductor. His work claimed major breakthrough in electrical devices, and many people believe his research could change the future technology. However, the other scientists later found that some of his graphs and data were repeated in different experiments. After investigation by Lucan Technology, it was proven that he had fabricated and falsified the data. This means he created the fake result and changed the data to support his research. As a result, many of his papers were edited and he lost his job. This case showed that honesty and ethics are very important in engineering and research. That's all for me, and thank you.
My name is Muhammad Iqmal bin Shamsul Kamal, TM23027. So today I will talk about the research misconduct case of Jan Hendrik Schön, which is considered one of the most serious cases in modern scientific history. So Schön was basically working at Bell Labs, where he published several papers claiming major breakthrough in nanotechnology. So at first, his work looked very impressive, but later it was discovered that his research contained serious misconduct, which is there were three main types of misconduct involved. So the first one is fabrication. So he created experimental data that never actually existed and reported false results as if they were real scientific findings. So second is falsification, which is he manipulated and altered data to support his claims and even use identical graph for these different experiments, so to make it look like a separate result. So for the third one is data mispresentation. So he basically presented the same data sets as if they came from different studies, which misled the entire scientific community. So because of these issues, concerns were raised when scientists noticed repeated and identical data patterns, which is this led to an official investigation by Lucent Technologies, and he was eventually proven guilty of intentional scientific fraud. So the consequences were severe, which is more than 20 of his research paper were retracted, and he was dismissed from the Bell Labs, and his professional reputation was permanently damaged. So in conclusion, this was not an honest mistake, but an deliberate act of deception. It violated the key of research ethics such as integrity, transparency, and accountability. So this case clearly shows that in science, honesty and trust are everything. So without them, even the most impressive result lose their value.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nafatullah Hanamiti Azmi, TL23045. Now, I will explain the misconduct analysis for the Bell Labs scandal, focusing on errors that were not fully proven. First, the role of co-author is still unclear. Jan Hendrik Schön worked with several researchers, but there is no strong evidence that they knew about the fabricated data. This raises questions about shared responsibility in research collaboration. Second, the supervision at Bell Labs is also uncertain. It is not fully proven whether the institution had weak monitoring system or if the fraud was simply difficult to detect due to the complexity of the research. Next, there is the issue of research pressure. Second published many papers in a short period, which may suggest a high pressure environment. However, this is only a possible contributing factor and not a confirmed cause. Lastly, the lack of proper data verification allowed the issue to go unnoticed for some times. Overall, this case highlights important gray areas in accountability, supervision, and research practice.
The Bell Labs scandal was a wake-up call for science. At first, Jan Hendrik Schön looked like a superstar. He was publishing exciting results at an unbelievable pace, and people thought he was unlocking the future of electronics. But when other scientists could not reproduce his work, cracks started to show. Eventually, it turned out that much of the data has been made up. The impact was painful and personal across science. Researchers have spent years chasing results that were never real, wasting time, funding, and sometimes damaging their careers. Young students feel especially burned. They trust their literature and paid the price. For the Bell Labs, it was embarrassing. This was a legendary institution, and the scandal showed that even the best place can fail if they trust too much and check too little. But sometimes good come out of it. Scientists become more skeptical in a healthy way. Journals become Journals began asking for a raw data. Advisors paid closer attention. Ethics training stopped being a formality and become serious. The message was clear: brilliant results mean nothing without honesty. In human terms, the scandal reminded everyone that science isn't just about smart idea. It's about trust. Once once the trust is broken, rebuilding it takes a long time, but the community learn how to do it.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Ahmad Farhan bin Rosmadi, and now I'm going to talk about the ethical insight and conclusion from the scandal cases. In this case, it is involved a fabricated research data violating honesty, integrity, accountability, and trustworthiness. As a result, false findings were published and Bell Labs' reputation was damaged. The key lesson here is that research must be truthful, transparent, and reproducible. In conclusion, without ethics, even great achievements lose their key values. In engineering practice, the ethical research are essential because they affect safety, quality, public trust, and future innovation. Thank you for listening.